So let's take a look at this year's Super Series competitors. The Super Series list, headed by Frenchman Thierry LINCOU, comprises the top 8 most consistent performers from last year's 5 Super Series events. These were held in New York, Qatar, Edmonton, Qatar again for the PSA Masters, and the World Open, lastly, held in Lahore, Pakistan. This is the first tournament to 11 points, pointer rally scoring, a trial run before officially being used in the Hong Kong Open in August 2004. Pretty much the same, but there is a tiebreaker at 10 instead of 14. So the top 8 players are split into 2 groups of 4. It's a round-robin format with the 4 players in each group playing off against each other, the best 2 in each pool moving into the semi-finals to play across ties. Welcome to today's matchup of the Brit Insurance Super Series finals. We've got the Egyptian SHABANA against France's Thierry LINCOU. Let's take a look at SHABANA here. He's best ranked number 5 in the world. He's currently at number 7. He's lost the last 2 games against Beachel and Joe Knipe, so he's not a lot to play for here, actually, other than pride maybe. But Thierry LINCOU having a great tournament and a great year. He's currently ranked 3 in the world. He's won his last 2 matches in this tournament, beating Joe Knipe and Lee Beachel.
This Super Series squash finals brought to you by Brit Insurance and British Land.
The Brit Insurance Super Series squash finals, Fleet Group. Thierry LINCOU serving, SHABANA receiving, best of 5 games, Lovell.
Welcome back to the Brit Super Series. 2 great players squaring off tonight. SHABANA in the red, Thierry LINCOU in the stripes. Your thoughts on this match, Martin? Who's going to win this one?
Well, it's an interesting matchup under a very unusual circumstance. This is actually the matchup of the World Championship final last December, so in which SHABANA actually won. He's the reigning world champion. He beat Thierry LINCOU 3 games to 2 in that final, and it was a very unprecedented win for young SHABANA. And so the game that we see them play today, actually, Thierry LINCOU has won 2 matches against Joe Knipe and Lee Beachel, whereas SHABANA has lost 2 matches against Lee Beachel and Joe Knipe. So I don't think he can get through to the semi-finals, whereas Thierry LINCOU is actually assured of a place in the semi-finals. He's just playing for position now. He's playing to see who he plays in the other group.
Well, if you look at Thierry's road to this final event, very impressive statistics. Semi-finals, finals. Semi-finals is the lowest finish of his year. Oh, lovely ball from Thierry there. And SHABANA has lost often in the first round. He did win an event though, but Thierry did not.
That was the World Championship. That was the one. He basically went out in the first and second round of every event, but then won the World Championship, which, you know, if you're going to time yourself to win an event, that's the one you want to do it at.
I guess, yeah.
But he's always threatened SHABANA, you know, he's always threatened for years and years. He was actually a bit of a prodigy when he was maybe 15, 16 years old. He came on tour and scored great victories against top 10 players when he was 17 years old, and everyone thought he was going to be the next world champion, but it took him a few years to get there, Charles.
Well, he certainly hits a good ball. Again, got wrong-footed here, though. Took his eyes off the ball, I believe. Of course, I didn't see it.
Well, you couldn't have more contrasting styles. Thierry, pretty workmanlike by most pros' standards, just a great athlete, puts the ball in the right place. Oh, but he can hit them when he needs to as well.
Well, he's taking control, up 5-love in this first game. SHABANA's got to find his ground.
Well, by contrast, SHABANA is seen as one of the greatest shot makers on the tour, as he accelerates his racket head through the ball so quickly.
You see the white flash when his racket swings.
Absolutely, and great touch, as you can see there as well. Well, he's playing for pride today, Charles. He doesn't have a lot to gain left in this event other than pride, so
Well, bragging rights have always been worth a lot. And if he can take down the champion, who no one seems to have found his number this week, Shabana can maybe pull out a win here. He can walk out with his head high.
Well, there's always, I suppose, if you're in his situation where you have lost first and second rounds and then you win the World Championship, then you're under a bit of pressure to prove that it's not a fluke. And, you know, he hasn't really proved it since then. So I think any results he can get over top 4 players is going to basically solidify his reputation as a top player.
Great reach from Thierry LINCOU there to get out of trouble.
Oh, Thierry volley and everything here. Actually really expressing himself very well, but just pushed that one out.
Right side, please. 3-5.
Slowly crawling his way back up into this game. 3 serving 5.
Well, there's a few grey hairs I see in Thierry's hair. Or is that just the lighting?
What have you got against grey hair?
Yes, let. 3-5.
Well, a little bit lucky to get away with a let there, Amr Shabana. Got a fairly serendipitous shot that came back to him right in the middle of the court.
Straight to Shabana.
Straight to Shabana. 4-5.
Well, Thierry had a great jump out of the gate, but Amir coming back, putting the pressure on.
Down.
Well, Amr is part of a great squash tradition in Egypt. There's a lot of great players have come from Egypt, and currently they've got a lot of good players in the top rankings of the world. Karim Darwish, he's a top 8 player. He's one of the new challengers for the #1 position, and he's proven to be quite a formidable competitor, especially in tournaments in the States.
6-5.
And also Mohamed Abbas, top 16 in the world. They've got one of the better national teams in the world. In fact, I think they've even reached the final in recent years.
Yes, let. 6-5.
So it's a tradition that I hope is going to continue. Egypt have had a lot of success with their players and also putting on great tournaments like Al Aram, the great tournament by the pyramids in recent years, which is currently not in the calendar. But hopefully we can get something of that enthusiasm back.
Well, that was a lovely setting. I remember the overhead shots of the pyramids all lit up with the squash court as well at night.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal tournament and a phenomenal experience for any squash player to play in that kind of setting. Oh, and there we see Amr Shabana's.
Magician's hands. It's like
Well,
a wand.
What are you meant to do to against that?
And out. 6-all.
Well, the ball was already rolling when Thierry got there.
Well, he set it up with a great trickle boast, which is a great shot. Patented by the great Rodney Martin of Australia. Just really hammer it into the sidewall very quickly. Well, Charles, another great clash of styles here. Thierry LINCOU, just going to concentrate pushing the ball about the court, keeping the ball tight like he did there.
Looks like it seems to be holding,
7-6.
helping him hold his own. Amir Shabana all over the place. The white flash of his racket seen a lot more than Thierry LINCOU. But again, Thierry LINCOU, the workhorse.
Yes, let. 7-6.
Shabana hunting for a stroke there, Martin.
Yeah, I think he probably was, actually. Yeah, he's not putting up too much of a fight against the decision, but I'm sure he wouldn't have refused the stroke. You can see from both their physiques that they're quite different. Amr Shabana is very fast footwork, but not quite as strong as Thierry, and he's certainly aware that he's not going to compete with Thierry in a medium-paced battle, moving the ball about. He's going to take the ball early, and he's going to try and put it away as often as he can.
And would you say Thierry LINCOU is in the best of shape? I mean, if you compare him to the other players here this week, is he in the best physical shape?
8-6.
He's just a great natural athlete, you know. I mean, as many training regimes exist, and you know, people, coaches coaching young kids to be top athletes. Really, it's, you know, it comes a lot down to genetics in the end, and he just happens to be very lucky that he, you know, he is a great athlete with a great center of gravity. He's got a very low center of gravity, which suits a lot of sports, and one of them was squash. So he's not going to make a great marathon runner, but as a squash player, he's one of the best athletes out there. And I think that's half the battle with sport, especially if you know, people want to be successful. If that's the criteria for playing sport, then they really need to pick the right one. Oh, that's a great shot.
No let.
No let. 8-all.
Ooh, that,
Well, that's a big.
no, he could have picked that up.
Too tight, and it died in the back.
But he would have gotten it before the back.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually, Charles. Yeah, I thought the ball, when I saw it first time, I thought it was past him, but I think you're right. I thought it was quite an easy shot, but that is just
Great touch from Shabana.
phenomenal touch.
9-8.
You see the mental toughness and the experience shining through from Shabana there. Get to an important point in the match and still put your hat on and take the risk.
Well, Thierry LINCOU, even though he's a few years older than Amr Shabana, Amr Shabana has actually been competing at this level longer than Thierry has. So, and he's also part of that great Egyptian tradition that I mean, these kids play from when they're 6 years old. You know, they are hacking away on courts, 10 of them to a court, playing three-quarter court. King of the court, they call it in the States. It's a great tradition in Egypt, and you know, it's really produced a lot of great champions. Amr Shabana being one of them.
So there really is tremendous support or interest in the junior category in Egypt then.
There is, yeah. I think it's, well, there we see it's Amr Shabana just playing great squash, great racket skills, taking the first game 11-9. This is going to be an interesting match.
So definitely showing that perhaps his World Championship win was not a fluke. Pulling out the first game. We'll see if he can hold up in the second.
Shabana leads by 1 game to love all.
We're back for the second game. Shabana to serve. To Thierry LINCOU. Tight match, Martin, shaping up here.
Oh, well, I just love watching this guy play. He makes it look so easy, Charles.
From one corner of the court to the extreme other corner, right into the nick.
Oh, that's great technical squash as well. Lifting the ball. Well, he's full of tricks, this guy, but that time it didn't work.
And Thierry pulling a trick out of his own bag.
Whoops.
Ooh, very unforced.
2-1.
Well, it seems I'm looking at Thierry's body language. I mean, do you think that he's really up for this game? He's through to the semi-finals of the Super Series, and he's guaranteed a place there. Shabana's obviously playing just for pride, and also to show some of his great shot-making ability. But do you really think Thierry will be too bothered about the outcome of this match?
Well, I certainly believe he wouldn't want to risk injury to disallow him from moving on to the semifinal. And again, I don't know if endurance is that much of an issue that he would stop in mid-stride. Yeah, I don't think he seems to be that kind of competitor.
Well, I know Peter Nicol is. He was never a man, even when he was playing dead rubbers, whether he's playing team competitions, individual competitions. He had the kind of mentality that he just would not let you win, no matter what the situation. So I think Thierry LINCOU's pretty much made of the same kind of mettle, so I can't really see him letting him this go. His pride will prevent him from letting this go. Oh, and that is just sublime. What a shot.
Thierry still shaking his head. What a beauty.
Behind him, he drops his wrist, flicks it. Everything was technically wrong there, Charles, and he played one of the best shots I've ever seen.
Don't try this at home.
Well,
Hand out 3-5.
sublime to the ridiculous, really.
That's right. This game moving much more quickly than the first.
Yeah, we're already pretty much halfway through this game. Not a lot seems to happen other than a couple of great shots by Shabana. And he tries the same again.
Yes, let.
Oh,
Yes, let 3-5.
Well, no arguing from Shabana's part, so
yeah, I'm quite surprised at that, actually. Maybe there's
I was certain he would get his stroke.
5-3 up in the second game, 1 love up. Maybe he's just want to keep his concentration. I think he might have reacted differently if it was
Well up.
Beautifully held there.
in the 5th game, but
Hand out 6-3.
he's got so much confidence today, it doesn't really matter, does it? That is just a fantastic shot.
His entire body told LINCOU he was going to hit it down the wall.
Down.
Tremendous hands.
Well, I think he's. I remember talking
7-3.
to Kamar Zaman in Pakistan, the great old Pakistani player, probably one of the best players never to reach #1 in the world. And he was telling me that if he had the ball in the front of the court, 100% he would hit a net. Not what, in fact, he said not 100%, but 200% he would hit a net.
4-7.
And I think Shabana's having that kind of day. He's, if he gets the ball in the front of the court, then he's not missing.
That was unbelievable. Return of serve.
8-4.
Well, this is the sort of squash that this guy can play.
And this is the kind of squash we're here to see.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hand out
Well, it looks though as though Amr
5-8.
might even be carrying a slight injury. He seems to be hobbling a little bit.
Dragging his feet.
It's a very unique tournament, the Super Series as well, because when you're playing a normal tournament, like the first, second rounds, you're usually playing
6-8.
someone maybe top 32 in the world, then top 16 in the world. The quarterfinals is the only time you'd really meet another top. Well, if you're top 8 in the world, you won't meet another top 8 player until the semi-finals.
Right.
So it's
So you ease your
so
way
you,
up.
you ease
the
your way
tournament.
into it.
Through,
In this
nothing wrong.
tournament, you're playing
No let.
top 8 players
7-8.
every
Left,
single
please.
day, and so the stress in your body and your mind is actually it's quite hard. And if you're going to win the tournament, you've got to play 5 top 8 players within 5 days.
My God, I said my God.
8 is blasphemy.
Not my religion.
Well, the referee is lecturing a devout Muslim on blasphemy. Well, Amr Shabana, even though he is a very devout Muslim, he's full of fun. He's one of the most colourful characters on the World Tour. He's always got a joke. He's a very cheeky man, always full of jokes and fun, and he carries himself with a class that everybody appreciates, no matter what their culture or beliefs.
Well, he fits the bill for a gentleman professional squash player.